Welcome to A Sound Constitution on 101.7 CHLY Radio.
A health promotion show brought to you by VIU nursing students.
Over the next hour, we will be demystifying health issues.
Thanks for tuning in.
It's showtime!
Good morning, listeners. You're listening to A Sound Constitution on 101.7 CHLY in Nanaimo. This is Allison, and I'm sitting here with Brittany, Jade, Julia, and Sophia. Welcome to our last show for this spring, but don't worry, we will be back in September. Today we are bringing everything full circle. That is, tying up some loose ends and connecting and collaborating with other nursing groups about what they're doing in their practice communities. Coming full circle seems to actually be a common theme in healthcare. Every day there's new life brought into the world and others leaving. Life is a continuous circle, and as nurses we have the ultimate pleasure of being a part of all of it. We get to help clients transition through every step of life, whether it be helping a baby come into the world or holding a palliative patient's hand while they take their last breaths, and everything in between. So join us today on our journey back around to the beginning of our season on the show as we recap important points, reconnect concepts, and collaborate with others. Also, we will be reflecting back on our greatest learning. To begin the show, we're going to do a little check-in on how the semester has gone by reintroducing ourselves and saying our biggest learning from this year. I'll start. Well, first off, I started to realize that I don't exactly have the voice of a 5-year-old, might be more like an 8-year-old, so I'm getting there. I've had so much fun so far in A Sound Constitution, and I cannot wait to get back at it in September with even more great content to promote your health. My biggest learning from this semester on the show has been just realizing the vast variety of resources that our community has available, and how much potential there is in the community to promote health coming from a strengths-based approach. So far, my favorite show has been the Sexual Health Show. It's so taboo to so many people, and I think we started to break down those walls and normalize it by talking about it on the radio. So what about you, Julia? What has been your favorite part of the semester?
This year has been so great. I had so much fun hanging out in the studio with you guys and learning about what it means to be healthy in our community. I loved hearing about health initiatives in the community, like the Discharge with Dignity program at Nanaimo Regional General Hospital and Nanaimo's own Safe Injection site. I think my favorite part so far was the Accessing Healthcare show, because it's one of those things that everyone should know about, but nobody really seems to talk about.
I so enjoyed my time with A Sound Constitution this semester. It was very beneficial to my own learning around the resources the community has to offer. In researching information for various segments, I gained a better sense of the strengths that Nanaimo has in terms of different initiatives and programs that the general public can access to improve one's own health. I also really enjoyed hearing from you in the community during our Your Opinion Matters segment. It is so valuable for us to hear your perspectives and ideas. I'm excited to be continuing with this program next year and further explore resources to share with you. What about you, Jade? Any final thoughts?
I have had a lot of learning this semester and have had a ton of fun putting together our shows. Some of my biggest learning from this semester has been around everything that we have learned being on the radio. I never thought that there could be so much work that goes into getting a show ready, including all of the research and editing that we do. That said, it's been a blast going through the new learning with you guys, and it's been totally worth it. I would have to say that our first show on harm reduction had the most profound impact for me. The effects that the fentanyl crisis are having all across BC, and especially here in Nanaimo, are really striking. I'm hopeful that the information we shared was of benefit and maybe even helped to save a life. I also really enjoyed my conversation with Maureen that week about the philosophy of harm reduction. She had a really great perspective to share and emphasized the importance of being non-judgmental of how others act, because you never know what might be going on for them. What do you think, Brittany?
Well, putting these shows together with all of you and having the opportunity to be creative and a little silly while also promoting health has been so much fun. When I got into the nursing program, I never imagined I'd get to nurse over the radio. Very cool. As far as picking a favorite show, that's tricky. I'd have to say getting to address the common theme of stigma within our shows was a highlight for me. I think breaking down barriers like stigma is an important part of health promotion for us all. And, like the rest of the team, empowering listeners to advocate for themselves by accessing up-to-date information from reliable resources like TransCare BC and First Nations Health Authority is something I'm really passionate about. To move forward, in tune with the theme of our show, coming full circle, we've got a song by Sam Robson with his a cappella cover of The Circle of Life.
Ah day we arrived on the planet and blinking stepped into the sun. There's more to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all through despair and love, through faith and love, till we find our place on the path unwinding. It's the circle of life. And it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on the path unwinding. It's the circle of life.
That was Sam Robson with his a cappella cover of The Circle of Life. Speaking of coming full circle, here is an audio clip entitled Elders Speak from the First Nations Health Authority, where they asked their elders what advice they would give to their 20-year-old selves.
If I can go back again in life at the age of 20,
I think that the advice from today to myself 20 years ago would have been stick with the studies.
I would go to college and take something that would make a change in our community.
Finish your education.
I gave up mine. I was 1 year university. I had my son. And I couldn't stay in because I couldn't afford to go to school. So I dropped out, just look after him.
Looking back 20 years ago, looking at myself, she was in a dark spot of her life. She was very suicidal, not knowing where she was going to be.
One thing
I done that after when I was 20 years old. I quit alcohol.
Myself, 20 years ago, watch out for that fast food.
And another thing is, at 20, I wish I recognized that laughter is very healing.
I wouldn't practice what I did as a young person. I was drinking and doing drugs. And I would be more involved with my culture.
I always like to tell the young people, don't be ashamed of our heritage.
Learn more from the elders and honor and respect it, because you don't know how long they're going to be around for.
Because my parents went to residential school and I didn't have that guidance. They didn't have the parenting skills, I guess. And so I would say to listen to the elders.
I would tell my 20-year-old self, appreciate your parents, appreciate their story, and if you don't know their story, ask their story.
And if you open your heart, you open your mind, you open your spirit to what they have to share, it'll take you so much farther in life.
So I would tell the young people, be strong, always strong. Let's not be ashamed of our language. Strengthen our language by learning how to speak. Even you raise your hand up to the Juanitams with thanks. Haiska.
Stay with their culture and eat the fish, the salmon that we harvest and the trout, and but to respect those animals too.
And I'm telling them not to be in a hurry to grow up and to care for themselves.
If I can't love myself first, how can I love anybody else?
Look after yourself, love yourself, and just, you're somebody. You're special. Somebody loves you. Somebody will love you.
And she learned how to reach out in the community and ask for help. She needed a mom, she needed a dad, she needed a grandpa, grandma, she needed brothers and sisters. She asked for that help. And I see her now, she got the help.
And that's so beautiful, when you can have somebody come in your life and tell them that you care for them. The youth today, we need to reach them because they have a better chance today to make something out of themselves.
That was an audio clip from the First Nations Health Authority on hindsight being 2020. What advice would you give your younger selves, listeners?
Brain formation! In our nursing class this semester, we have all been given different community placements to work in for our practice class. We have been really lucky being here with the Sound Constitution at CHLY. Some of the other placements have included elementary and high schools, where nursing students have led sessions on topics including drug and alcohol safety, healthy nutrition, and good touch, bad touch. Other placements include the Canadian Blood Services and Healthy You Nanaimo. This week, we thought we'd check in with what they're doing and share some of their experiences with you. We hope you find the information they have to share compelling and informative. I know I certainly did. Here's what they had to share.
We are now going to take a look at blood donation. Transfusion of blood helps save millions of lives every year. It can help patients suffering from life-threatening conditions live longer and with a higher quality of life. It supports complex medical and surgical procedures and also has an essential life-saving role in maternal and perinatal care. Access to safe and sufficient blood and blood products can help reduce rates of death and disability due to severe bleeding during delivery and after childbirth. In many countries, there is not adequate supply of safe blood, and blood services face the challenge of making sufficient blood available while also ensuring its quality and safety. An adequate supply can only be assured through regular donations by voluntary blood donors. A fellow group of nursing students are doing a community project in partnership with Canadian Blood Services to promote the community to give back through blood donation. To start off, I have Julia and Allison here to help me deliver some fun facts about blood.
Did you know that half of Canadians will either need blood or know someone who needs blood at some point in their lives? Yet only 4% of Canadians donate.
Every 2 seconds, someone is in need of blood.
Every person's body contains around 5 liters of blood, and only around 450 milliliters of blood, or 1 unit, is collected during a blood donation.
1 in 7 people entering a hospital need blood.
About 100,000 new donors are needed every year to meet the demand for blood.
It can take up to 50 units of blood to save a single car crash victim.
It can take 8 units a week to help someone battling leukemia.
Blood donation is said to be beneficial to the donor's health. It can prevent accumulation of toxic quantities to patients prone to iron overload, may lower the risk of heart disease in men, effectively reduce blood pressure, blood glucose, and heart rate in patients with metabolic syndrome.
Blood donors receive monetary and non-monetary compensation in various countries around the world. Some blood donors in the U.S. are paid $25 to $50 per donation. Donors in Italy receive a holiday day on the International Day of Donation. Awards and special medals are given to voluntary donors in Singapore and Malaysia. Malaysia donors are also offered free outpatient and hospitalization benefits. However, Brazil and Australia have decreed it illegal for a donor to receive or demand any kind of compensation.
Donors can also have blood drawn for their future use. This is known as an autologous donation.
Did you know that potential blood donors are screened for disease that can be transmitted during transfusion, like HIV and viral hepatitis? They are also asked questions about their medical history and made to take a short physical examination to determine if the donation is safe for their health.
How often a donor can give varies from days to months based on what he or she donates and the laws of the country where the donation takes place. For example, in the United States, donors must wait 8 weeks or 56 days between whole blood donations, but only 7 days between platelet donations.
Most of the components of blood used for transfusions have a short shelf life, and maintaining a constant supply is a persistent problem. This has led to some increased interest in autotransfusion, whereby a patient's blood is salvaged during surgery for continuous reinfusion.
Red blood cells, the most frequently used component, have a shelf life of 35 to 42 days at refrigerated temperatures, which can be extended by freezing the blood with a mixture of glycerol, but this process is expensive and requires an extremely cold freezer for storage. Plasma can be stored frozen for an extended period of time and is typically given an expiration date of 1 year, and maintaining a supply is less of a problem.
The donor's race or ethnic background is sometimes important since certain blood types, especially rare ones, are more common in certain ethnic groups. Historically, donors were segregated or excluded on race, religion, or ethnicity. However, this is no longer a standard practice. Next up, we have a little audio clip for you from BBC Earth Lab, laying out how blood donation works.
Do you ever stop and think about how weird it is that you can give complete strangers your blood? I mean, this isn't like lending someone your jumper here, is it? This is your own precious life force, right? The modern world has made it so easy to save someone's life with something that your body makes for free. So let's first talk through what happens when you donate, then get to the interesting stuff about where your blood goes afterwards, and then why those A positive and O negative scores really mean so much. So, giving blood. Once you reach the age of 17, you're eligible to donate. Also, best to book an appointment before showing up, by the way. I realise this is a little bit like a public service broadcast, isn't it? Anyway, carry on. When you arrive, nervously looking round for vampires, you'll have a form to fill in and a chat with a carer to check that everything is all right. They'll also test your hemoglobin levels by putting a drop of your blood in copper sulfate solution to look at the density of your blood, a test that was actually invented for soldiers in World War II. If you've got blood that's full of iron, if you've been eating your spinach, you'll move on to the donation itself. You lie back in a chair, they put a cuff on your arm to create a little bit of pressure, and they insert the needle, which is already attached to a tube which leads to your own personalised blood bag. Lovely. As the blood leaves your body, it fills the bag, which rather helpfully contains anticoagulants to stop it clotting. It also sits on a scale, so it can automatically stop the donation when you've given just under a pint. Important to avoid draining you dry. The average person has about 8 pints of blood in them, so as long as you drink some water afterwards, you can easily make up the volume. After all, you make 2 million red blood cells every second, and the whole thing usually takes 5 to 10 minutes, and it's so uneventful that a lot of people play Candy Crush during the whole thing. After the donation, you go off for some squash and a biscuit, and the real work begins. Your bag is carted away to a blood bank where it's tracked by barcode and hung up on machines inspired by fish smokeries. Some of these banks hold more than 1,000 gallons of blood. That's enough to fill around 56 bathtubs. Blood donations have to be processed immediately, as the red blood cells will only last around about 35 days, and other blood components last even less time. If blood of a special type or group is needed, then they can actually rush it out in under an hour, which means we should chat blood type. You have the same blood group your whole life. It's nothing like an exam grade. And the letter and positive or negative sign refers to the protein molecules on the surface of your red blood cells. They're called antigens, and that means any substance that potentially causes a body to produce an immune response to it. Now in their case, these are your personal self-antigens and your body just ignores them. You can have up to 342 types of antigens on your red blood cells, and because lots of us share a whole bunch of them, we divide blood into a few different groups based on those differences. A, B, AB and O are the most common letter grades. Now around 48% of the UK population has group O, 39% A, 10% B and 3% AB. Then you get variants of these like O positive, which is for people who don't have any of the A or B antigens, but they do carry some rhesus group antigens, RHs, and yep, they're named rhesus because they were discovered in rhesus monkeys. RHD is the most common of the RHs, making O positive the most common blood group in the UK, with 36% of the population having RHD antigens, but no A or B. If you get blood with the wrong antigens, or accidentally took on monkey blood, your body's immune system would flag your blood as not being your own and start attacking it, actually bursting the red blood cells open. That's why every single donation is important. People need an exact match. Because your blood group is genetic, a match is more likely to come from people from within your own ethnic background. If you're from an ethnicity which is in the minority, there may be less blood available for people with your blood type, which is why donating is super important. And that's why O negative, which we used to call the universal donor, is such a useful blood type. In an emergency, it can be given to almost anyone. That doesn't mean that O negative has no antigens. It's just lacking those RHD ones, which are the most immunogenic, the most likely to cause an immune reaction in a patient. There are still around 50 RH antigens that they could have. The closest thing we know to a true universal donor are the 40 or so people in the world with golden blood. It's still red, of course, but it's RH null. They have no antigens from the rhesus group at all. And the amazing, but sad thing, is that these people of golden blood can save almost anyone's life. But they have to live really carefully themselves, because if they did have an accident, the only blood transplant that they could take would be from a fellow person of rare golden blood.
If you're just tuning in, this is A Sound Constitution on 101.7 CHLY Radio. We just heard from Greg with BBC Earth Lab speaking to how blood donation works. Now, on to more information on blood donation. Did you know there is actually a whole day dedicated to raising awareness around the need for safe blood and blood products, and used to recognize and thank blood donors for their voluntary life-saving gifts of blood? World Blood Donor Day is recognized annually by the World Health Organization on June 14th, the birthday of scientist Karl Landsteiner, the man who discovered the ABO blood group system. The theme of this year's World Blood Donor Day is Blood Connects Us All. It focuses on thanking blood donors and highlighting the dimension of sharing and connection between blood donors and patients. In addition, they have adopted the slogan, Share Life, Give Blood, to draw attention to the roles that voluntary donation system plays in encouraging people to care for one another and to promote community cohesion. The campaign aims to highlight stories of people whose lives have been saved through blood donation, to motivate regular blood donors to continue giving blood, and motivate people in good health who have never given blood to begin doing so, particularly young people. So how can you get involved? The Canadian Blood Services puts on blood donation clinics throughout the community regularly. Visit canadianbloodservices.ca to find a clinic near you. You can also take a short survey on their website to determine if you are eligible to give. Booking appointments ahead of time through their website is recommended for a smooth donation process. We hope this information has been beneficial to you and maybe even made you consider donating. After all, it's in you to give.
Hey listeners, up next we have a conversation with Christy Knox, who's a fellow third-year nursing student at VIU. Her and her group were working at Stanamus School, and they were helping to teach good touch, bad touch with some of the students there. All right, so I'm here with Christy, who's a fellow nursing student, and she and her group have been working at Stanamus School, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about what they do there. So I'll give it over to you, Christy.
So for this semester, we have been doing sexual abuse prevention with the students who are in pre-kindergarten to grade 1. So they're from 4 to 7 years old. And so we've been teaching good touch, bad touch, some personal space stuff, as well as naming body parts.
Awesome. So you've been going along with that. What are some things to kind of keep in mind having when you're scaling good touch, bad touch for that age group?
Well, the attention span is a little bit short at times, so we usually try to keep the lessons as short as possible. We just try and use language and try and develop the language so that they can understand it and more than that, comprehend it, because it's really important that they do get an idea and understand what we're trying to teach. So we need to use, more simple language and shorter lessons and lots of visual aids, things like that. Getting them up and moving is really important too.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. And you guys found a video, the Pantosaurus video, which we'll be playing after this. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that and how you guys found it and why you think it really worked for teaching the kids about good touch, bad touch?
Yeah, well, we were trying to get a hook. We needed to get their attention and it teaches the underwear rule. So the underwear rule is it's not okay for people to touch you inside your underwear or touch you in general without your permission. But the Pantosaurus video is an animated video with a super catchy song and basically just outlines that in a way that will get the students' attention at that age, and it really did. Yeah, it's something that they've remembered. So.
Awesome. Well, we'll be playing that after. And what suggestions might you have for parents or teachers who are trying to scale difficult topics, not necessarily good touch, bad touch, but similar things to, kids and that younger age group generally?
Yeah, some of the feedback that we've gotten has been that it seems to be more uncomfortable for the grown-ups than it is for the kids. So it's a hard topic to broach with young children, but if you're keeping it simple, it's really important to use proper terms for body parts, and that seems to be uncomfortable for adults as well, saying that to children. But it's just being clear and just making sure that it can be an open conversation that is not sort of stigmatized, that is okay to have with the kids.
Thanks again to Christy for taking the time to talk with us. It's really interesting what she had to say. Up next, the Pantosaurus video.
This is Pantosaurus. He's going to help us with our song about pants. Pantosaurus, What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts.
Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see, just tell them no. Pantosaurus likes to wear his pants. He wears them all day long. They cover up his private parts, and that's what makes him strong. If someone asks to see or tries to touch him underneath them, he tells them no, then tells someone he trusts and likes to speak to. What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts. Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see, just tell them no. If someone asks to see or tries to touch under your pants and says to keep it secret, then you must tell them no. Then go and find someone you trust and tell them straight away. They'll say, well done for speaking out and make everything okay. What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts. Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see, just tell them no. Sing along, everybody, it's your turn. What's in your pants belongs only to you. Your pants cover up your private parts. Your private parts belong only to you. If someone asks to see, just tell them no. If someone asks to see, just tell them no.
Hello, listeners. Up next, I have an interview with VIU BSN's own NEAT Club, where we talked about how climate change is affecting our health on Vancouver Island. Okay, so I am sitting here with VIU BSN's NEAT Club. I'm here with Delcy, Serena, and Ivo. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Great.
Hello.
So this is a relatively new initiative. Do you guys want to talk about how this kind of came into place and what you guys do?
Yeah, so NEAT Club is a club that our practice placement has created. It stands for Nurses for the Environmental Action Today. And through this, we want to start incorporating actions that community members and students can do, such as going on community bike rides and spreading awareness how you can reduce your electricity use.
That's awesome. And so what exactly do you guys do within the BSN program that sets you apart from other groups?
So our goal is to raise public awareness for the health effects of climate change. So by collaborating with ACER, we're basically, in a sense, an offshoot of ACER. While ACER raises awareness for what climate change is and how it's affecting our weather even as we speak, our goal is to help communities become more aware of the fact that this changing weather will impact our health, and also provide ways to prepare for that.
So it's very complicated, I think, when we look at the bigger picture, but it's also looking at it from on a local level, and what can we do here. There's actually a lot we can do, and a lot that is happening.
Okay. And for listeners' sake, what kinds of things would you advise that would be helpful?
Something as simple as turning off lights around your house whenever you're not in a room can decrease your energy usage, and our use of electricity is one of the primary ways in which we have such a substantial carbon footprint. So doing something like that is really important, and doing it on a large scale will have a definite impact on our CO2 emissions. Other things we can do, maybe drive less, bike or walk more to places. Also, water conservation. Vancouver Island is expected to be in persistent drought during the summers in the upcoming decades, so we need to be able to harness whatever rainwater that we get during the fall and winter and even spring, like now. And so something like setting up barrels in your backyard in order to harness that water and then use it to irrigate a small garden or something, or your lawn. Small steps like that can go a long way, and those are some examples.
Yeah. With like regards to energy usage as well, like there's all those small things we can do, or big things really, but those day-to-day things we can do, like turning off lights. Also, like looking at our energy sources, is kind of a big thing, right? Because if we're looking at greenhouse gas emissions contributing to a warming climate, then we need to also look at, well, how can we reduce those? And the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has said that we need to do that by 80% by 2050 in order to stay below a 2 degrees global average increase. So there's ways that we've also been able to see, like in reports and that kind of thing, that we can actually do that by 2050. We can actually do it to 95% by 2050 by transitioning into alternative renewable energy sources, as well as many other things, right? But definitely on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot we can do as individuals.
Yeah, additionally, related to water, Charmaine, one of the members in our groups that is not here, she's created this challenge through our NEAT group. And so what Charmaine has done is she's created a challenge called NEAT's Meat Challenge, and it's to reduce the amount of meat consumption individuals partake in. And the result of this can reduce how much water is being used to grow cattle and different types of meat, and how much energy consumption goes into raising and producing meat. So if you're interested, I challenge you, NEAT challenges you, to reduce the amounts of pork and beef and chicken you eat in order to help mitigate climate change.
That's awesome. So earlier you were talking about the different health challenges that can be a result, specifically for Vancouver Island, of global climate change. Did you want to touch on a few of those issues, or?
Sure. Absolutely. So what I researched in regards to climate change is specifically how water will impact our health. So we're expected to get more instances of heavy rainfall in the fall, winter, and springtime, whereas our summers are expected to be much drier and longer. So with heavy rainfall comes the risk of flooding. So if our water supplies become contaminated, diarrheal diseases will spread. Another disease that's expected to make its way to the island over the next 3 decades is West Nile virus. Now, West Nile has been present in North America since the late 90s, but because of our increasing temperatures here, it's expected to increase its geographical spread along the west coast of North America and up to Vancouver Island and eventually even further north. So West Nile virus is carried by mosquitoes, and it causes fairly severe fever, and also in some cases it attacks the nervous system as well. And there have been, I think, since 1999, something like a little bit or close to 2,000 deaths from West Nile virus throughout North America. And as it spreads, chances are the number of patients that we're going to see with this disease will increase.
Also, I guess our air quality here on climate, I studied that a bit. And regarding what Ivo said about increasing temperatures, if our increasing temperature here continues to elevate, there's more risk for forest fires. Like I think a couple summers ago, we had all those fires, and you could see in the sky all the nice colors, but really there's a detrimental health impact of those fires. They have been shown to produce particulate matter, these particles of a very small size. And these small particles have the ability to lodge inside of the lungs and cause inflammation, and can cause diseases such as bronchitis and chronic lung disease, as well as they can affect other systems in the body, such as the cardiovascular system, because they can enter the blood and disturb the body's normal homeostatic functioning.
Yeah, and some of the other health impacts include cancer, cardiovascular disease and stroke, foodborne diseases and nutrition, heat-related morbidity and mortality. So that's one definitely for our population here, which is largely older population, older adults above 65. That's obviously more vulnerable population with changes in temperature, and then young children as well, with an increase of heat waves we're likely to see an increase of that health impact as well. Human developmental effects, mental health and stress-related disorders, neurological diseases and disorders, and then obviously weather-related morbidity and mortality as well. So there's quite a list that we don't have time, unfortunately, to get into, but it's worth checking out further and being aware of these issues.
For sure. Is there a resource that you could refer listeners in the community to?
I'd like to refer listeners to the NASA website on climate change, which is a great resource just to understand how climate change happens and how it's impacting the entire world as well as us here on Vancouver Island. And in terms of ways to conserve water, the Regional District of Nanaimo's website and the Cowichan Valley Regional District both have excellent resources on being water smart and how to deal with instances of drought and flooding. So I think those are great resources that people should refer to.
And so just towards the ACER website that you can also refer to, it's viuacer.org. And that has some great information about what the ACER group is doing on campus and information they have.
Yeah, so we have an upcoming, in the fall of 2017, we have a climate change symposium. We're going to be collaborating with ACER again on this. So they've been doing this annually, and this year we'd like to bring in that health impacts portion to it. So we're inviting some speakers from UBC and SFU as well. And that will be happening, I think it's September or October. We don't have our dates set yet, but we'll find those out soon. But if you want to stay in touch with that, you can check out the viuacer.org website, and they should have something up there soon.
Also, if anyone in the community or students are interested in joining NEAT Club, we have a Facebook page called NEAT Club, or they can email us at
neat.viu@gmail.com.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, you guys. That was Serena, Dulcie, and Ivo from VIU's NEAT Club. If you're just tuning in now, you're listening to A Sound Constitution on 101.7 CHLY. That was an interview with Vancouver Island University's own NEAT Club with Dulcie, Ivo, and Serena.
Hello, listeners. I'm sitting here with a couple of third-year nursing students telling me about a local program in the community. So, Katie, what is the program that you're working on?
So, we are working within the Health and Wellness program. The Health and Wellness program is a free program that's run out of the Public Health Unit that's on Grant Avenue. This program is based on helping people with chronic diseases in Nanaimo or anyone who is looking to better their health. It is run by a registered nurse and a registered dietitian who teach different educational sessions to promote health within the Nanaimo population. Some examples of the sessions they put on are heart health, COPD 101, smoking cessation, weight and stress management, exercise classes, and lots of information on healthy food choices.
Awesome, that's great. So what would a teaching session look like?
So an example about what it might look like for someone would be someone with a chronic health challenge or who just needs some help, maybe some information on something they're dealing with, would call this number, 250-755-6200, and select option 4. And then they'd attend the orientation session. The stress reduction class might be one a common one for the population to go to.
Okay.
So they'd attend the class with 10 to 20 people and would receive specific practical information on how to manage their stress levels. They'd be provided information on the pathophysiology, so the disease process of stress, information about stress reduction techniques, as well as some community connections and resources.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So we were just thinking it might be kind of interesting for you guys to try an exercise that we learned in the stress reduction class. It's called 4-7-8 breathing.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So if you notice you're getting super stressed, 4-7-8 breathing has been shown to reduce your heart rate. It can focus your mind and reduces blood pressure. So with me, take a big breath in through your nose over 4 counts. So 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And release through your mouth over 8. Okay, we'll try it again. In over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out through your mouth over 8. 7, 8. Perfect. And so at these sessions, you learn techniques like that, which can be really beneficial. And they also provide people with the opportunity to ask questions and share their stories with other people who might be dealing with similar issues.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. I feel so relaxed now. All right. So, Colleen, what are some of the program's benefits for the listeners?
Well, the Health and Wellness Program has a midstream health promotion approach. This means that it aims to avoid readmissions and exacerbations of chronic conditions. Sessions provide information to the client, which gives them the knowledge and tools to take charge in their own health. It's beneficial because it provides education to the client that is the most relevant to them, because they get to choose which sessions would most benefit them.
Okay.
Goal setting is also one of the important things that are emphasized at the orientation session in particular, and the sessions help clients to reach these goals.
That's great. So how can clients access this program?
So the best way to access the program is to call this number, which is 250-755-6200, and select option 4. You will get connected with an operator who will set you up with the orientation session where you will learn. Well, they will go over what we have talked about today and more information. And that number again is 250-755-6200 and select option 4.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That was Health and Wellness.
If you're just tuning in, my name is Brittany, and you're listening to A Sound Constitution on 101.7 CHLY Radio in Nanaimo. Welcome to Good News, the segment where we look at good news going on in the media or in our community. This week, we've got a very cute clip from the Nanaimo RCMP about boosting the confidence of local kids.
And now for some good news.
Police officers in Canada are trained as problem solvers. So the more tools they carry in their toolkit, the more opportunities to problem solve, and sometimes it's about building the relationship.
What's your name? Nick, you know what? That was absolutely perfect what you just did. You stopped, you looked both ways. Because of that, I'm giving you a positive ticket.
My name is Ward Clapham. I'm a 28-year veteran of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and I'm the creator of the Positive Ticket program.
Nanaimo is a community of approximately 100,000 people. It's a great place, and it's something that everybody should come and see. Since the inception of the program of positive ticketing, we've issued approximately 6,400 tickets to youth.
I'm giving out positive tickets. Okay, do you know what a positive ticket is?
The Positive Ticket program is about catching kids doing things right, rewarding them for good behavior. It could be for using a crosswalk.
Good job, there you go.
Wearing a helmet when you're skateboarding or riding your bike. It could be for doing your homework. And for many officers, it's the icebreaker to approach young people.
Here, I'm going to give you a positive ticket. Here you go, Nico. Thank you very much. Mohammed, very nice to meet you, Mohammed.
The Positive Ticket idea really exemplifies the Canadian values. We're recognized as being really polite, super polite.
So that's for you.
Thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It's not about the ticket, it's all about the relationship. Because you see, what we were finding was that the ticket, for many young people, it was a trophy. It was a recognition that they were a good person, and they never had a police officer, let alone maybe a caring adult, tell them that they were worthy and that there was something special about them.
We had a whole pile of kids, and they're all pretty excited to see me. There was actually one kid in particular, she was pretty shy and pretty reserved, and Dad was telling me, he says, Yeah, my daughter, who's in kindergarten, so 5 years old, is scared to death of the police. And he says, I've been trying to tell her we're in Canada now, it's safe. The police are good. I watched her cross the street. She did exactly what I've been trying to teach the kids. And so I gave her the positive ticket. So then she got a big smile. That's why I do this.
Since the program started in 2002, over 1 million positive tickets have been given out by police around the world. Even if 1% of those million tickets turned into life-changing events for young people, that's a heck of a difference.
That was the RCMP talking about their Positive Tickets initiative promoting health and wellness in the littlest members of our community. And for a little extra good news, tonight, March the 30th, at Beban Pool, there is an all-inclusive swim from 7:15 until 9 p.m. There will be no charge for this swim thanks to the VIU Positive Space Alliance. What is an all-inclusive swim? These swim sessions have been organized to provide a safe and inclusive space for all. Transgender, gender diverse, queer folks, allies, and families are welcome. Everyone is invited to attend this swim meant to welcome all to a positive environment where you can be comfortable being who you are. Pool staff and lifeguards are available to accommodate your needs and support newcomers to the facility. There will be a welcome table in the lobby where folks will be there to help answer any questions you may have upon arrival. Universal change rooms and gender-neutral washrooms are available. For more information or questions, please contact Nanaimo Parks and Rec at 250-756-5200. That's 250-756-5200. Happy swimming! We wanted to say a huge shout out to all of our interviewees and everyone who participated in our shows this semester. A big thank you to our instructor Sandy Alexander and our field guide Arby Frew at CHLY. We are grateful for all of your support. And last but certainly not least, thanks to you listeners. So instead of a final song, we'll leave you with a few giggles from our blooper archives, as shows rarely come together after one take. On behalf of all of us here at A Sound Constitution, thanks for listening. Until next semester. Ba-ba-ba.
Ba-ba-ba.
Ba-ba-ba. Bloopers.
Oh. This is not going to go on.
I think my favorite part so far was accessing was the I can't write. Words are hard. I think my favorite part. Remix. I think my favorite part so far was accessing. Why is it so hard?
That's not working. We need to start again.
Thank you, Brittany. So let's talk about homeopathy. What is it? Homeopathy, or homeopathic medicine, is a medical philosophy. What the heck?
What the heck?
Oh, there's... Can I... It's just my bloopers are all going to be me laughing. I'm not ready. I'm sorry. Okay. It's just going and going and going.
Oh, it's still
Welcome to Brainformation, the segment where
She had a really great perspective to share and emphasized the importance of being non-judgmental on how others act, because you never know what... I just can't talk this week, I'm sorry. Because you never...
Oh my gosh. Glycerol.
With a mixture of with a mixture of glycerin.
You're like James Beans.
Not the pains.
Hello. La 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 la. Oh. Thanks, Brittany. Just a reminder that any information that we provide you with today is in no means meant to substitute the advice of your healthcare
Thanks for listening to A Sound Constitution on 101.7 CHLY Radio.
For more information, questions, or comments, please visit our Facebook page at A Sound Constitution.
Tune in again next Thursday morning from 10 to 11.
Stay healthy, Vancouver Island.